After my divorce from my husband was finalized, I moved in with my daughter, Natalie. About 6 months later, something unexpected happened. It was my day off, and I was relaxing at home with Natalie when I got a call from my mom. To my shock, my ex-husband and ex-mother-in-law had gone to my parents' house and let themselves in without permission. I quickly got ready and went to my parents' place. When I arrived, my ex-husband and ex-mother-in-law were sitting in the living room, waiting for me. I had no idea why they were there. "Why did you both show up at my parents' house?" I asked. My ex-husband, John, surprised me with his answer, "I want you to pay me back the money you owe me. My name is Aaron, and I'm 40 years old. I worked in an office, and I was married to John for 14 years. Our daughter, Natalie, was born just around the time we got married, and she's now in 8th grade. We were once a happy family, and I thought we would always have a loving home." I met John on a blind date and was instantly drawn to his friendly, kind, and cheerful personality. He liked me too, and we stayed in touch throughout high school. After a few meetups, we started dating. A year later, he proposed, and we got married. I loved him deeply, and I was so happy when he chose me to be his wife. I had a close group of friends from high school, and we would always get together. When I told them I was getting married, they all congratulated me, and they came to our wedding. They joked about how they'd all want to get married too someday. After my wedding, one by one, my friends also got married. We laughed about how we'd gone from a group of teenagers to adults. Then, as I got pregnant, they all started having kids too. Soon, we weren't just mom friends, we were a group of parents. I felt like we were going through life together, and I believed we'd stay close forever. I was happy being a wife and mother, but I also loved working. After college, I got a job in the planning and development department at a big company, and I worked hard every day. The work was tough, but it was also rewarding. Every day felt like a chance to learn and improve. One of my friends from the moms group, who was a stay-at-home mom, once told me, "You're really a workaholic, Aaron, but you also have a fulfilling life with your family. It's like you have two bodies or something." She thought I was strong, but honestly, I wished I had the energy of a superhero. Both John and Natalie helped a lot at home, which made it easier to balance work and family life. "I'm home." "Oh, Mommy, welcome home." When Natalie was little, she would greet me with a smile and a hug after work. Just hugging her made all my tiredness go away. "Welcome home, honey, dinner is ready," John would say. John stopped working full-time after Natalie was born and switched to a part-time job so I could keep my career. He worked at a cafe and took care of picking Natalie up from school. By the time I got home after a long day, John would have dinner ready. It was such a relief to come home to a hot meal. His cooking always made me feel better. My life felt like it was supported by my husband and daughter, which allowed me to focus on my job. As I got better at my work, I was promoted. That meant more overtime, and I often came home late. By then, Natalie was older and understood that I had a lot of work to do. John also started working longer hours at the cafe. He had become really interested in coffee and learned how to roast beans. He experimented with different brewing methods, both at work and at home. His coffee was great, and we'd often enjoy it together as a family. But slowly, I didn't notice that our family dynamics were starting to change. One day, Natalie came to me looking upset. "What's wrong? You said you wanted to talk about something." "Well, actually, the other day, when I went to see a movie with my friends, I saw Dad with another woman." "What?" "They weren't holding hands or anything, but they seemed a little too friendly, and since last year, I've noticed Dad on the phone a lot before you come home. He seems really happy while looking at his phone. At first, I thought he was talking to you, Mom, but after seeing him with that woman, I'm not sure anymore." Natalie's words hit me hard. She looked so sad, in a way no middle schooler should. "I'm so sorry, sweetie, I didn't realize you felt this way," I said, hugging her tightly. "I've been a little focused on work, haven't I?" "No, I think it's cool that you work so hard, Mom, so don't feel bad about it." I felt really happy and touched by Natalie's kind and understanding words. "Thank you, Natalie, I'll talk to your dad about this, okay? And if he's really having an affair, I think I'll get a divorce. Would that be okay with you, honey?" When I asked her that, she nodded. I don't like the idea of my dad having an affair. Just knowing that and being with him would make me feel bad. Hearing this from my daughter made me realize how much I had neglected my family. I knew I needed to look into this situation carefully. not just for my own sake, but for Natalie's. She had the courage to bring up such a difficult topic, and I had to do something about it. I quickly hired an investigation agency to look into John's affair. The results shocked me. John was indeed having an affair, just like Natalie had suspected. They even had photos of him with his mistress. But what surprised me even more was who his affair partner was. It was Stacy, one of my old high school classmates and a member of the moms group. I was more shocked by Stacy's involvement than the affair itself. I couldn't believe that someone I had trusted and considered a friend would betray me like this. Stacy was a stay-at-home mom, and she was the last in our group to get married. She had a young child, around 5 years old, and yet she was having an affair with John, neglecting her own responsibilities as a mother. When I saw the evidence, I was so stunned that I couldn't move for a moment. If I hadn't been in my room, Natalie could have seen those photos, and that would have made things even worse. I wasn't ready to confront John, and I definitely couldn't show Natalie those pictures. I took a deep breath and tried to stay calm. Then, one of my friends from the moms group mentioned that she had switched jobs, so I thought it would be a good chance to suggest that we all get together. Stacy didn't know that I knew about the affair, so my friends arranged the meetup, and I planned to confront Stacy, my husband's lover, 3 weeks later. During that time, I quickly hired a lawyer and started preparing for the divorce. I told Natalie what I had discovered and explained that her dad and I were getting divorced. We spent our days off looking for new apartments to move into. Finally, the day came when I would face Stacy at the gathering. At the restaurant, we all caught up with each other, and I asked my friend about her new job. We all shared updates. Stacy still had no idea I knew about her secret, so we all talked casually. Everyone is working, so it's good that things are changing. I'm just a housewife, so I'm stuck in the same routine, Stacy said. Well, you don't have to work, Stacy, since your husband can support you, another friend said. I do appreciate my husband, but sometimes I feel bored with it, Stacy replied. That was my cue. It was time to confront her. So that's why you're having an affair with other people's husbands, right? Huh? Stacy and the rest of my friends froze when they heard my words. Hey, Aaron, what do you mean by that? One of my friends asked, confused. Stacy stayed silent, her face going pale. It looks like Stacy is having an affair with my husband, John, I said bluntly. No way, you must be joking. Stacy would never do something like that, one of my friends said, defending her. Stacy quickly denied it. That's not true. Aaron, what are you talking about all of a sudden? You must have mistaken me for someone else. Oh, really? Then why don't you all take a look at this? I said, pulling the photos from my bag and placing them on the table. My friend stared at the pictures, shocked. Oh my gosh, Stacy, why? Stacy clearly hadn't expected me to have proof. She covered her mouth, stunned. Why did you have an affair with my husband? I asked, still trying to process it. Stacy finally gave in. I'm really sorry. I walked into the cafe where your husband works. I didn't know he worked there. After that, I started going there more often. My husband provides for me, but after we got married, he stopped caring about me, and I started feeling lonely. Stacy started crying, but I wasn't moved by her tears. Even if you were lonely, having an affair, especially with a friend's husband, is just wrong, I said calmly. Turning to my friends, I added, I'm sorry to involve all of you, but I need to let Stacy know that I'll be suing for alimony. I've already sent certified mail to her house, so her husband should have received it by now. Stacy gasped in shock. You need to be held accountable for your actions, I said firmly. Stacy nodded, looking pale and defeated. The rest of the moms group was upset and said, we can't trust you anymore, Stacy. We left the restaurant, leaving Stacy behind. Now that Stacy was out of the way, it was time to deal with John. I'm sure Stacy had already contacted John about what happened, so when I got home, John was waiting by the entrance, looking panicked. Hey, how could you do this? What? I just got a call from Stacy. Are you really talking about your affair? Why are you making this so public? You're terrible. You pretended to be a good husband, but behind my back, you were having an affair. No, that's... But Stacy has a family too. Why expose her to her husband like that? That's ridiculous. I guess people who have affairs think the same way, huh? You think as long as the other person doesn't know, it's fine, right? But what you did was wrong. So now everything has to come to light as part of your punishment. That's why I'm divorcing you and demanding alimony and child support. With the affair already proven and no way for him to deny it, John agreed to the divorce, but he was reluctant to pay alimony and child support. After I hired a good lawyer and made it clear I was ready to take the case to court, he finally agreed. So, I divorced my ex-husband, sold the house we'd lived in, and moved into a new apartment with Natalie. I filed for alimony from both John and Stacy, and they each paid me $30,000. I also demanded child support from John. After the divorce was finalized, Natalie and I settled into our new life. As expected, the whole situation traumatized me, but over time, the pain began to heal. However, about 6 months later, something unexpected happened. I was relaxing at home with Natalie on my day off when I received a call from my mother. What she told me shocked me. My ex-husband and ex-mother-in-law had suddenly appeared at my parents' house and forced their way in without permission. My father was out handling some personal matters, which is why my mother called me in a panic. I quickly got ready and headed to my parents' house. When I arrived, my ex-husband and ex-mother-in-law were sitting on the living room sofa, waiting for me. I had no idea why they had shown up. "What are you both doing here at my parents' house all of a sudden?" I asked. And then, my ex-husband said something that completely shocked me. "I want you to give me back the money that you owe me." "What? I never borrowed any money from you. I paid $15,000 for the wedding, didn't I? You were the one who wanted the wedding, so I lent you that money. Since you divorced me, this is all fraud. I could sue you for marriage fraud, but all I want is for you to return the $15,000 as a settlement." His demand was outrageous. My ex-mother-in-law chimed in, saying I should pay him as soon as possible. After the divorce, I knew John had gone back to working at the cafe, but I also knew the pay there wasn't much. He must have been struggling financially, which was probably why he was making such ridiculous requests. Let me remind you, we both played equal roles in the wedding, and after that, I paid more than you for our living expenses. If you calculate it all, $15,000 is nothing compared to what I spent, so don't harass me with your impossible demands. I tried to get them to leave, but they refused to leave easily. Then, my father came home. Apparently, he had received a call from my mother and rushed back. "What are you doing here?" he asked, glaring at them. My ex-husband explained the same thing to my father, looking terrified at my father's angry tone. My father listened in silence, clearly shocked and furious at John's demands. "You're the one who had an affair. If you're going to make these ridiculous demands, get the hell out of here." With that, my father tried to kick them out, but my ex-husband fell to his knees. "Please, Aaron, lend me the money. Stacy's husband is demanding alimony from me too, and I really can't pay. Please, $15,000, no, $10,000 would help." It was insane. He was begging for money at a time like this. I coldly replied, "No, I can't do that. Now go home." But then, my ex-mother-in-law said, "You're also responsible for what happened," and insisted that I was obligated to lend him the money. The situation was getting out of hand, so my father said, "Fine, I'll get the money, wait here," and went to another room. "Hey, Dad, what do you mean?" I rushed after him, and my father grinned. "I have plenty of money. Since we have it, why don't we give it to them?" I was convinced when I saw my father take the money out of the closet. Well, this should be interesting, I thought. My father put the money in an envelope and handed it to John. After they finally got what they wanted, my ex-husband and his mother left, looking pleased. As soon as they left, I locked the door and called the police. The two of them must have checked the envelope after leaving because they came back quickly, banging on our door. "Hey, what's going on here? This is Monopoly money. I don't want this fake cash," my ex-husband yelled angrily at the door. I laughed and said, "Since we have so much money, I thought I'd share some with you." Then my ex-husband shouted, "You've got to be kidding," and started banging harder on the door. It sounded like they were kicking the door with their feet, but they didn't realize this was going to cause big trouble for them. John and his mom were still kicking the door when the police showed up and arrested them. Neighbors gathered around, and many of them saw John and his mom get arrested. In the end, John didn't get any money, but he had to pay a fine for his arrest and the damage to our door. Also, one of the people who saw the arrest was a regular customer at the cafe where John worked. The news spread fast, and he was fired right away. Now, John can't find a job and has moved back to his parents' house. His parents are now paying alimony and child support for him. I also got a restraining order against my ex-in-laws for my family. Now, if anything happens, we can call the police, and they'll come right away. I'm happier than ever with Natalie now. I'll keep working hard and watching my daughter grow up. Thanks for watching until the end. Please subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.